For us today, without a standing temple, without seeing the relevance for that to the people here in Israel, we don't really get it. The temple was more than just a place of worship. This is a place where Yahweh said He placed His name. His presence was there. And granted, His presence is everywhere. But He said this is where He's calling all people to come and worship Him. And for the people of Israel, this was beyond a house of worship. This literally was at the center, the core of their whole life. Everything they had to do centered around the temple. I mean, you think about this. There had to be people to build the things. There had to be people to maintain the things. There had to be people to grow the fruit and the wine. There had to be people to tend the flocks. There had to be people. Everything that was done, somebody among Israel had a role in maintaining that temple. When the temple was destroyed, it was beyond, now where are we going to come in and assemble with worship? It was everything about their whole life changed. And that was vital for them. But the really wild thing about it is both temples were destroyed on the same day. Granted, many, many years apart. 586 BCE and 70 CE, right? And if something happens on the same day like that, wouldn't that get your attention? So this is vital that we see for the month of Av. There's some things that we're being instructed here, okay? So what happened in this time? There's an annual mourning period. It's a fasting period, a mourning period, because the temples were destroyed. And it's the cause of current ongoing exile. Guys, throughout the scripture, we see exile and return. Exile and return. Even in the life of Jacob. Remember Jacob and Esau? When he was leaving home, he wasn't just leaving home to go find his wife. He was being exiled. He was being kicked out of his house. He was being exiled. But it was in exile Jacob became a family. And it was in exile Jacob became a people called Israel. And it was in exile the people turned to Yahweh their God. And He said, I want you to come back now. And come to the place that I am bringing you. There's a lot that happens in exile. There's a place for it. But the goal is to not be in exile. Even in Yeshua's day, they considered themselves in exile. Even though there were people in the land, they considered themselves still in exile because they could not self-govern. They could not rule themselves. They had to submit to a different governmental authority, the Romans. So could you truly be free if you have to submit yourself to a whole different system? Even then, they consider themselves in exile. All right? So the idea is return. Even today, the idea is return and restoration. And hearts brought back to the Father, right? Matter of fact, when we read all the prophecies in the scripture where Yahweh talks about bringing all His people together to be one people, it's a return from wherever you are throughout the world to come to one place to worship Him.